before that in our orchestra we have more than 10 nationalities, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very proud. You know, music puts people. They told me that the most musical audience of the whole world, because he was not proud of me. He never said, I love you. He never said, I'm proud of you.
Andre Rieu, the man who made the world waltz, had kept the secret for 30 years. Behind the smile and the lavish concerts was a second life no one had ever seen. Recent revelations are shaking the entire music world. Everything you know about the King of Waltz might only be half the truth. Get ready, because you are about to hear the whole story in this video. Andre Rieu was born on October 1st, 1949 in Maastricht, the Netherlands. He was the third of 6 children in a traditional musical family.
Strict,
his father,
and that
Andres
very
Antonio
strictness
Rieu,
built in
conductor of
Andre the
Limburg
precision
Symphony
of a
Orchestra,
professional
laid the foundation
musician.
for a life bound to sound and discipline. When Andre was just 5 years old, his father placed the first violin in his son's hands. In a home filled with symphonic scores, daily practice was not only about learning music, but a way of life. His father was strict, and that very strictness built in Andre the precision of a professional musician.
Because he was not proud of me. He never said, I love you. He never said, I'm proud of you. Never. So that's not nice for a session.
From 1968, Andre studied in Leiden and Maastricht, 2 major centers of classical music in the Netherlands. Under the guidance of Joe Uda and Herman Krebers, he mastered performance techniques and developed the ability to feel rhythm according to the European classical standard. He later moved to Brussels to study with Professor Andre Gertler and graduated in 1977 with the prestigious Premier Prize. The years in Brussels helped Andre understand more deeply the structure of the waltz, the genre he always regarded as the language of joy. In the 1970s, Andre began performing with local orchestras. He joined the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra and earned praise for his flexible conducting style. But instead of following an academic classical path, Andre soon realized that the distance between high art and the general public remained wide. In 1975, he married Marguerite Kookman, a language teacher with a deep appreciation for the arts. Marguerite was not only his life partner, but also the strategist behind his future. Andre once described her as the one who keeps everything balanced between music and reality. This partnership laid the foundation for a family artistic model that would later become their hallmark. While Marguerite managed logistics, Andre focused on developing his own performance style. Together, they explored ways to make classical music more accessible to ordinary audiences. They discovered that the waltz, with its easy-to-follow 3/4 rhythm and emotional flow, was the perfect bridge between tradition and modern life. By the late 1970s, Andre founded the Maastricht Salon Orchestra, the first ensemble that carried his personal imprint. The group performed in small halls, local theaters, and even public squares. Audiences in Maastricht, long accustomed to solemn music, began to notice something different. The waltz was now played with a smile and stage energy. The Maastricht Salon Orchestra was not just an experiment. It was Andre's laboratory. He rearranged Strauss pieces, added bright tempos, and turned performances into celebrations. Through this, he learned how to manage personnel, handle schedules, and oversee finances, rare abilities for a musician at that time. In a later interview, Andre recalled, "Those years taught me that to reach people, music had to breathe. You had to make it dance." That statement summed up the artistic philosophy formed during this period. He did not want music to stand still in concert halls. He wanted it to live with the audience. By 1987, after nearly a decade of experimentation and observation, Andre Rieu was ready for the greatest turning point of his life, founding the Johann Strauss Orchestra, the beginning of a 30-year journey living between 2 worlds, the journey of building an empire. In 1987, Andre Rieu officially founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra, marking the beginning of the foundation stage for his musical empire. He started with 12 members, rehearsing continuously for 6 months before presenting their first concert on New Year's Day in 1988. That event opened a new direction for European classical music. Andre's goal was clear: to create an orchestra specializing in waltzes, polkas, and light symphonies more approachable to audiences. He wanted classical music to escape the confines of the concert hall. Andre performed with his 1667 Stradivarius Stradivarius violin, the treasured instrument he carried to every performance. Andre Rieu played a central role in organization, managing finances, recruiting musicians, and overseeing backstage operations. Andre once said he could not run the orchestra without her. Together, they created a model that combined art and business, built around a family-based core. Instead of relying solely on sponsorships, Andre chose independence. He developed a direct ticketing system and took full control of production, from stage design and lighting to costumes. This structure soon gave the Johann Strauss Orchestra the shape of an independent performance company. In an interview with Classic FM, Andre shared, "Johann Strauss was an incredible musician, but also a very clever businessman." The statement clearly reflected his philosophy. For Andre, art could not survive without organization and management. Andre was not only the musical leader, but also the storyteller on stage. He often spoke briefly to the audience, sharing anecdotes about the pieces to be performed. This interaction made the spectators feel invited to participate rather than just listen passively. In 1991, the Johann Strauss Orchestra began recording its concerts for national television broadcasts. It was a financial gamble, but the results were immediate. TV audiences discovered a lively, engaging style, far from the stiff image usually associated with symphony orchestras. Revenue from television and ticket sales helped the orchestra maintain steady operations. From there, Andre planned to expand the ensemble, adding more string and brass players. By 1993, the orchestra had grown to nearly 30 members, ready for larger projects. During this time, Andre also experimented with independent recording. He invested in his own equipment and built a small studio in his home in Maastricht. This allowed him to control sound quality and reduce the cost of renting record labels. From this point on, the artist-producer model took clear shape. From 1992 onward, the Johann Strauss Orchestra began to attract a loyal audience. They attended regular concerts in Maastricht, Antwerp, and Cologne. The orchestra became a cultural symbol of the Dutch-German-Belgian border region, even drawing younger listeners, something rare for classical music. By the end of 1993, Andre's orchestra had secured a strong foothold in the region. Dutch music journals called him the man who brought a fresh breeze to European waltz. That success paved the way for the major turning point of 1994, when a composition called the Second Waltz was about to be released, and it would change everything. The global explosion in 1994. Andre Rieu released the Second Waltz, an adaptation of a piece by composer Dmitri Shostakovich. The record instantly became a phenomenon in the Netherlands, climbing to the top of the charts and propelling Andre's name beyond Europe's borders. He recalled, "For years, I offered a waltz recording to record labels, and every year they turned me down. Finally, they agreed, and that was a turning point." The success of the piece completely transformed the status of the Johann Strauss Orchestra. International promoters began to reach out. Tickets sold out rapidly, and Andre entered an unprecedented period of growth. His orchestra became a symbol of how classical music could be reinvented. From 1997, Andre began an intensive international tour schedule. The orchestra performed in the United States, Australia, Japan, and many other European countries. Each concert drew tens of thousands of spectators, creating an atmosphere rarely seen in classical music. Andre focused on recording entire performances, releasing live DVDs and albums. This doubled his revenue and allowed audiences worldwide to experience his shows, even if they could not attend in person. His style began to be recognized as a modern classical stage phenomenon. In 2005, Andre launched his summer concert series at Freithof Square in Maastricht, his hometown. The event immediately became a cultural ritual for the city, attracting visitors from around the world. He once said, "Playing in my hometown, seeing people from all over the world dancing on the square, it's the most beautiful feeling." Freithof quickly became a symbol of the Andre Rieu brand. Building on that success, Andre expanded to other open-air venues in Germany, France, and Australia. The concerts were large-scale productions where music, lighting, and stage design merged into a complete entertainment experience. Audiences did not just listen, they became part of a celebration. By 2007, the Johann Strauss Orchestra had evolved into a performing organization with more than 50 members and hundreds of staff behind the scenes. Andre's touring system operated with the precision of a major corporation. with schedules planned down to the hour. His name appeared among the world's highest-grossing live performers. The peak of this era came in 2008, when Andre invested about 24 million euros to recreate Austria's Schönbrunn Palace on the stage of his world tour. The massive production included cavalry units, a golden stage, and a choir of more than 100 singers. The event made a powerful impression in the international performing arts community. The media called it a classical concert on the scale of a grand opera. Still, behind the glamour, the enormous expenses placed a heavy financial strain on Andre's company. Even so, Andre never viewed it as a failure. To him, it proved that classical music could become a shared public experience. Bringing tens of thousands of people together for a waltz by Shostakovich or Strauss was an achievement few contemporary musicians could ever match. That accomplishment would lead him into his next great trial when his health, finances, and performance system would all be pushed to their limits. Life behind the spotlight. After the global explosion, Andre Rieu entered the most challenging period of his career. The intense performance schedule took a visible toll on his health. In 2010, while preparing for tours in the United Kingdom and Australia, Andre fell ill, and doctors diagnosed him with a viral vestibular nerve infection. The illness attacked his balance and caused dizziness whenever he stood up. In an interview, Andre said, "Every time I stood up, I was sweaty and dizzy. The entire tour had to be canceled. Tens of thousands of tickets were refunded, and he was forced to stop performing for nearly 3 months, the first time the orchestra had paused in years." During his recovery at home, Andre faced his own limits. He realized his body had been exhausted after thousands of hours on stage. For someone who lived through music and audiences, stopping was a severe psychological challenge. The illness became an undeniable warning. At the same time, expenses from his golden years came back to weigh heavily on the company's finances. The 2008 Schönbrunn Palace reconstruction project had cost more than 24 million euros, much of it drawn directly from Andre's personal reserves. Financial pressure struck just as his health was in crisis. Andre admitted this was the hardest phase of his career. He told the press that every morning he had to choose between worry and moving forward. The dual strain, physical and financial, forced him to rethink how the Johann Strauss Orchestra should operate. In this context, he and Marjorie began restructuring the company. They reduced logistical expenses, cut distant tours, and increased investment in video and television production. Concerts were professionally filmed for broadcast in multiple countries, keeping audiences engaged without the need for extensive travel. As his health gradually improved, Andre returned to the stage, but at a different pace. He shortened tours outside Europe, focusing on familiar cities such as Maastricht, Vienna, and Cologne. Each tour was planned carefully to balance his stamina with artistic quality. Andre lived with his family at the Rentius Castle in Maastricht. The historic building served both as a residence and as a production base. There, he set up a recording studio, sound workshop, and tour management office. Within its old brick walls and glass windows overlooking the garden, every plan for the orchestra was mapped out. That space became the new operational center. Every morning, Andre worked with Marjorie and their son Pierre in a small office in the castle's east wing. They coordinated schedules, discussed set lists, and handled performance contracts. From being a musician, Andre had become the head of a fully functioning performance enterprise. Having endured a health crisis, Andre changed his lifestyle. He began doing light exercise every morning, limited alcohol, and made sleep his top priority. In an interview, he declared, "Giving up is the worst thing you can do." The statement reflected his determination never to retreat in the face of adversity. From 2012, Andre expanded his television presence through partnerships with European and American networks. The concerts filmed at Freithof in Vienna were broadcast regularly, attracting large audiences. This model allowed him to maintain a global connection with fans even when he was not touring. Marjorie and Pierre played crucial roles during this period. Marjorie oversaw finances, while Pierre managed production and communications. They became a resilient trio, keeping the orchestra alive through turbulent years. By 2016, the Johann Strauss Orchestra had regained steady momentum. Andre returned to top form, releasing albums and preparing for new tours. The 2010 crisis had ended, leaving behind an artist more mature, cautious, and fully in control of his empire. Andre Rieu came back with a stronger, more strategic mindset. steady but calculating. But the world was about to change in ways no one could foresee. A global challenge would soon force him to live the true meaning of his double life, entering a new era. From 2017 onward, Andre Rieu entered a phase of redefining his position. After years of strategic adjustment, he had built a stable, globally scaled system. The Johann Strauss Orchestra now functioned as an artistic enterprise with hundreds of employees. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020, everything came to an abrupt halt. The entire Freythof concert series and all international tours were canceled. Andre faced the greatest risk since the financial crisis of 2010, but he decided that no one in the orchestra would lose their job. He continued to pay salaries to 120 staff members, including musicians, technicians, logistics, and administrative teams. Each month, operational costs reached $1 million with no income during that time. His decision was viewed as an act of courage and deep responsibility from a true leader. According to Bild and Limburg, the Dutch government granted around 10 million euros as part of a cultural business relief program. The funds helped Andre maintain essential operations, cover payroll, and preserve the team. He became a prime example of an artist managing sustainably through crisis. When Europe reopened, Andre organized a series of mid-scale concerts to test market response. The first shows in Maastricht and Vienna quickly sold out, proving his enduring appeal. Audiences saw his return as a hopeful signal after a long period of silence. By 2023, the Johann Strauss Orchestra had gradually resumed its regular rhythm. Andre reinvested in the string section and expanded the choir. Outdoor concerts were fully restored, with Freythof once again becoming the heart of Europe's summer music season. In 2024, Andre released the album The Sound of Heaven, featuring 15 romantic instrumentals produced by his own company. The album achieved impressive sales, reaffirming his influence not only on stage, but also within the classical recording industry. In early 2025, the concert film Gold and Silver premiered in cinemas across the United Kingdom. The production captured the dazzling atmosphere of Freythof and Andre's signature performance style. It helped him reach younger audiences through the medium of film. That same year, Andre held a summer concert series celebrating 20 years of Freythof. Tens of thousands of visitors from around the world gathered in Maastricht. The event was filmed, broadcast live, and became one of the largest open-air musical gatherings in Europe at the time. Also in 2025, Andre released the album Thank You Johann Strauss to mark the 200th anniversary of the birth of the composer he most revered. The project was a tribute to the man who shaped his entire artistic journey and a way to connect today's audiences with the legacy of classical music. In an interview with The Telegraph, Andre said, "I'm building on stage. I'm building up an audience that loves music." That statement encapsulated his philosophy of life and work over 4 decades, to create an audience that truly loves music, not just listens to it.
At over 70, Andre continues to work at an intense pace. He is preparing plans for the 2026 tour, which will include new destinations in South America and Asia. The orchestra is also expanding with younger members to ensure a new generation can carry on the successful model he has built. Andre was not only a performer, but also an organizer, producer, and captain of a complex system. His double life, both artist and entrepreneur, had never been clearer. These two sides complemented each other, sustaining the vitality of the Johann Strauss Orchestra brand. 30 years after founding the orchestra, Andre Rieu has remained faithful to one purpose: bringing the waltz to everyone. Amid the revenue figures, millions of albums sold, and hundreds of concerts performed, he still embodies the image of a musician devoted to his violin. If you believe that music can connect people across time and borders, share this video so more people can discover the journey of Andre Rieu, the man who turned the waltz into the language of joy. Don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss the next stories about the musical icons who changed the world.